The SNP split claims are complete fictions to MP insist. Hi everyone, welcome to Apex News. Report of deep division within the SNP are a complete fiction, a senior MP has insisted. Stewart Hosie was responding to claim that Stephen Flynn victory over Alison Thewliss is in the party's Westminster leadership contest showed the party was now split. Mr. Hosie said not one word of that is true and he had no idea where the stories have come from. Ms. Thewliss is seen as being close ally of Nicola Sturgeon, but she lost by 26 votes to 17 to Mr. Flynn in ballot of the party of 44 MPs on Tuesday evening, which one member was not taking part. Mr. Flynn questioned Rishi Sunak at Prime Minister's questions for the first time as the group leader on Wednesday, where he highlighted opinion poll which suggested for support for independence is at 56% higher than the other recent polls which have tended to show a narrow majority in favor of remaining in the UK. He asked Mr. Sunak whether increasing energy bills in Scotland will cause those poll numbers to rise or to fall, with the MPs responding by pointing to the 55 billion euros in energy bill support his government is providing this winter. The SNP's political opponents have claimed that the defeat of the candidates widely assumed to have been the First Minister's preferred choice, as was a personal humiliation for Mr. Sturgeon and lays before a deep spite within the SNP. But Mr. Hoyes told the radio's Good Morning Scotland program that the SNP was absolutely united by their goal of achieving independence and by the fantastic leadership of Nicola Sturgeon. Mr. Hoyes, a former deputy leader of both party and the Westminster group, added, with Stephen Flynn at helm in Westminster, I think we'll see closer working than we have ever done. Mr. Flynn was elected as leader after the resignation of Flan Blackford, who was also a close to Mr. Sturgeon. There had been reports for several months that many SNP's MPs were increasingly unhappy with Mr. Blackford's leadership, particularly after he urged them to give their full support to former Chief Whip Patrick Grady. Mr. Grady was suspended from the party and the Commons earlier this year for sexual misconduct. Mr. Flynn denied just 2 weeks ago that he was plotting to oust Mr. Blackford alongside colleagues from the so-called Tuesday Club, which is a group of SNP's MP who are set to hold regular five-a-side football, beer and curry nights. When Mr. Blackford subsequently confirmed that he was standing down, Mr. Flynn was initially expected to be the only candidate to replace him, before Ms. Thewliss unexpectedly announced that she was also standing in the contest. Mr. Hosie, who backed from Flynn in the vote, said the new leader would bring a different tone to Mr. Blackford and would be a snappier and would be more vibrant. He added, I think he will bring a great deal to the table and great deal to the independents. Because as we hold this government to the account, I think Stephen has a rare gift of being able to communicate difficult things in really effective way, and I am looking forward to seeing it deployed particularly when we get the Prime Minister's questions. He also dismissed questions that party's MPs were now split between Sturgeon's loyalist and Sturgeon's separatist, with Mr. Flynn as a separatic as untrue. Mr. Hoyes said, I have to say I did not see of these stories over the past few days, and on a couple of occasions I nearly spat out my coffee with a laugher. Not one word of these divisions is true. I have no idea where the stories have come from. Mr. Sturgeon tweeted shortly after the vote of Mr. Flynn has newly debuted Mahiri Black would make a truly formidable team, and that she was looking forward to working with both of them. But Scottish Conservative Chairman Craig Hoey said the results of the leadership contest showed that the First Minister's once iron grip of her party is slipping, and that lays bare the deep splits within the SNP. And Anne Murray, Labour Shadow Scottish Secretary, claimed Mr. Sturgeon as it has been given a two-finger salute by SNP's MPs who chose back Mr. Fair over the Thewliss. The new Westminster leader has been installed just a fortnight after the Supreme Court ruled that the Scottish government cannot hold a second independence referendum without the UK's government's consent. Mr. Sturgeon had wanted to hold a vote next October but now says she will use the next general elections as de facto referendum. a move that is said to have unsettled some of the party's MPs. When asked if 44 SNP MPs would get behind the plan, Mr. Hosie replied, "Yes, this is the plan which we have, and it is likely to be next election. It is the one where we can put forward in a manifesto with the vote for the SNP where we are moving forward for the independence. That is the clearest and most legal constitutional way for doing it." He also played down reports for a difference of opinion between Mr. Flynn and Mr. Stewart over the future of North Sea. Mr. Stewart opposed drilling for new oil and gas fields, while Mr. Flynn, whose Aberdeen South constituency is at the heart of the industry, he said to have different views. Mr. Hosie insisted that there were no policy divisions whatsoever over the issue, adding he is very much in favor of making sure that the transaction funding is put in place, so that all of those highly skilled, highly talented people in the northeast of Scotland can be deployed in a renewable future. Stephen Flynn, who chose by SNP's MPs to lead them in a Commons in part because they hoped he would be punchy presence at a big events like Prime Minister's Question. He may have been given a warmer welcome than the man he is replacing was used to. Ian Blackford was generally greeted with a chorus of cheers from the government benches. But the 34 years old clearly planning on taking on adversarial approach to the Conservatives and Labour, aiming perhaps at both parties. The bigger job Flynn may be bringing this party's factious group together in the wake of the leadership contest, which was not the correction he had hoped for. With the SNP planning to use the next general election as single-issue campaign on the issues of the independence, those MPs could have found themselves on a very fault line for the debate over Scotland's future. Thank you.